Director, are we ready? Are we ready? All right. All right, we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order, the April 14, 2026 City Council meeting. Public service announcement, if you hadn't gotten an extension, your income tax is due tomorrow. The extensions are great things.
Yeah, actually, Wilson County, because of the
May
ice.
22nd,
It's the 22nd of May.
Yep, got an extension. Not, from the IRS, yeah. All right, if y'all bow with me, we'll have a word of prayer and then we'll get rolling. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this day, the many blessings of life you've given us. Thankful for the opportunity to gather again here today with these public servants and with the people, good people of our community, Lord. We pray that you'll bless this meeting, bless us as we make decisions, and keep us safe from harm. Keep our people safe from harm and watch over them. Go with us and forgive us our sins. Amen. Well, we're having this meeting tonight a little out of order and a little out, the time's a little different. Early voting will start tomorrow across the county, and you'll be able to vote here in the morning, 7 o'clock or 7:30? 7? For the next 15 days, excluding Sundays, of course. But we like to make that available to the people up here so that they don't have to go to Lebanon or Mount Jude or Gladeville to vote. And it seems to work out well, but sometimes it inconveniences us. We had city court tonight and now city council, and once we conclude, they'll be in here to set up shop with the voting machines, and we won't be able to get back in here until after April 30. I'll go ahead and say I didn't look at the calendar, but I believe we may have our council meeting affected 2 other times in August and November because we have 2 more elections this year. So we may have to, well, we will most likely have to adjust the date of our meeting, but we'll give you plenty of notice on that, and appreciate everybody working with us. Got a set of minutes from April 17, March 17, a little ahead of myself. Y'all had a chance to look at them?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. I probably should have said a while ago and declared a quorum. We do have April, and Caleb will not be with us tonight, but they'll be back next meeting, I'm told. Public business, comment, anybody? All right, we'll move on. I see some folks that are going to address us a little later on. Dale, you first up tonight.
I entered the wastewater plant into a plant optimization program that the state is putting on, and this is a program that's put in place to reduce nutrient loading in the Gulf of Mexico. They have reimbursement money. I had some gentlemen from the state came out and looked at our facility and have entered us in the program. They want to spend quite a bit of money at the facility. It'll be our money spending and then reimbursement is how it works. There's a class I got to go to Friday. It's like an orientation class into the program in Fleming Training Center in Murfreesboro. And there's quarterly reports associated with it. And there'll be people from the state in and out of the facility looking at designs and doing testing and things. But they have testing equipment that's loaner equipment and things that they'll be bringing out. But it's going to be some more work on my end, but there will be, hopefully in the long run we get some updated equipment out of the deal, and I think it's a really good thing.
Okay. Questions, comments?
You said it's we pay and they pay back?
Yes, it's a reimbursement program, yeah.
Is it 100% reimbursement or?
That's what I gathered, yes, it's 100% reimbursement. And it's for the Gulf of Mexico. Depend on the time of year and the season and who's measuring, but there's roughly like 1,000 square miles dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico from nutrient loading. And it's from algae growth. The algae blooms and grows, and then when it dies, it consumes all the oxygen. And this is, I talked to the gentleman that's putting it on, and sewer plants are point source discharges, and we do discharge nutrients, and it's a lot easier for them to, or it's a lot more cost efficient for them to spend money on something like a sewer plant than it is where the real problem is farms, agriculture. But it's not that cost efficient to be spending lots of money and convincing farmers not to do things near the streams and not to use fertilizers. But that's their approach to it.
The word nutrients and sewer just don't go together. Any questions, comments? That'll be my joke of the night, I guess.
That's really cool. I know we're not supposed to comment, but I can't.
End of the day, it's all fertilizer.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Dale. Chief, you want Enderlight? Chief Enderlight. I forgot we got two chiefs here. How you feeling? Good?
Amazing.
Glad to see you're moving well.
Yeah.
Me too. I'm taller. I can stand upright. It's like I mean, it, clearly, I should have done it years ago.
Yeah. Lot to be said for being upright.
That's right.
You doing jumping jacks yet?
Yeah, actually, I am. Yeah, I'm like a new man. I didn't know how much the Lord loved me for the first 3 weeks, because I'm telling you, I didn't sleep a bit. But after that,
Well, let me ask this before we get to the other stuff. How the baseball players? Because I hadn't seen.
amazing. I'm watching it right now. I just left. I had to go to Ezel Harding. It's their last game tonight. Cole hit a triple off the wall and 2 doubles.
Why didn't you go to the ball game?
I wanted to see you all. I hadn't seen you in a while. I did. I went to his, but Landon's playing right now.
Oh,
They're playing-
okay.
They're playing at
Oh.
home against DA, and they didn't let him pitch today, so he's gonna pitch tomorrow. against
So you
Dawn.
get to see them tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, good.
Yes, sir.
Good, that makes me feel better. All right, you got anything you need to share with us?
No, one of the gentlemen had come about some kind of 5 or 3K, the chamber that they're gonna have, I guess he's not
But
here.
it's stored.
Historic, okay.
The chamber's not in, it's stored.
Okay, historic, but he's not here, so I guess we don't, he'd come and presented about closing some stuff down, and I told him he needed to make sure we did, this had to be early here,
It's
so.
not due until like September, so we'll bring that up closer.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
So it's not on the agenda, and I've got a request tonight for June, and we'll talk about it, but I think it doesn't require any action, I don't think.
Everything else is good. I mean, it really took a toll, me being off. I know we've had a lot of concerns, but we issued 21 code letters this week. And then just being in compliance with the policies that we've done, the letter, we made physical contact. Places do look terrible. 4 of them have been cleaned up, pictures taken. We did issue 21 letters this week. They'll have 10 days to comply. And then after that, if they don't comply, it'll be a citation and it'll be in the court. So, just so everybody knows that. The one thing that's not on the agenda, but I do want to ask you about optics. You know, they're starting to park tractor trailer trailers there, 2 or 3 at a time. It does block the view of my cameras and the school zone and stuff. It's something that we probably need to discuss at some point, not just for my cameras, but when you're pulling out there.
Yeah.
When they have 3 of them, it's kind of dangerous. And,
Is Grammy still on there?
Yeah.
yes.
Talk to her about it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just trying to be nice about it, but it is kind of, and then when they sit there in the mornings, like they're loading up their trailers, they'll leave them there overnight, or one of them's not moved in a while.
Yeah.
It is kind of, safety issue.
Well, if I need to go with you to talk to somebody or whatever, let me know.
Okay, yep, that's it for me.
We don't want to get anybody getting hurt over in the school zone. I'm sorry.
One question about that. 'Cause I know they've been parking parallel to the building in front.
Yep.
If they park perpendicular to 70 on the side, that would help with the view from the road, but I don't know what that does otherwise.
Well, I mean, it would help, period. It's a lot. Especially because of just the way the parking lot comes, and like the gravel part almost looks like the road sometimes, and people are,
Yeah,
you know, and it creates a visual effect that makes you want to go out further than what you really need to.
Right.
You know, because when you see it, you're like, hey, I need to get out past all this, and then all of a sudden you're in the roadway. Now, I'm not telling you it's caused a bunch of wrecks, that's not what I'm saying, but it's the visual effect of.
well, I've heard the complaints, my wife goes that way every morning. So.
Okay. Other questions? Comments?
Thank you.
Just go back and watch the ball game.
Yes.
Glad you're back.
I'm glad to do that.
Chief Hahn, fire report. There he is. How you doing, mate?
Good. Y'all are well.
Yep.
We had, been a pretty calm month, which is good in our line of work. We had 46 calls last month, and 12 in the city and 34 in the county. I will say in future reference, if you happen to look back on this report, the mileage and the hours are incorrect. That was my fault. Miss April had called and reminded me, and I got busy and forgot about it and was trying to get that report through, and I overlooked that part of it. So I know it's not something we track every time, but I do like to keep y'all aware as the hours and mileage goes up, we can track that. So if there's a discrepancy later on, that is my fault, and we can kind of ignore that month's report on that. We had our pump testing last month. That went well. Basically, they come in, they work the fire pumps, they certify those, they'll do pressure test on it. That revealed a couple of issues that we had, mostly just with valves. They're metal ball valves going to some of the lines, and over time, the gaskets blow out, calcium builds up in the water, kind of creates ruts in those. So that's something that'll need to be rebuilt. We got a quote on that for about $2,700. So we're going to look. I don't think we've got anything else pressing through this budget year. We'll kind of look and see where we are and see if that's something we can squeeze in or need to put off. So.
Okay. Questions, comments? You training still? Y'all still training?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I knew the answer to that, but I just thought I'd ask.
We've got a good group of guys and gals over there.
Good.
It always amazes me of the dedication that people put into it.
Yep, it does me too. It's been that way here as long as I can remember. As you too, you don't remember as far back as I do. People have always fallen in to help fight fires. And now, big difference is, it used to be, I just went around the square and you jump on the truck and go with them, and now we got people that are trained, but they always volunteer. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all.
Let's see, I don't see Jeff here for Parks and Recreation. I'll just say that we did get started on opening day, and it looks like everything is going good, and the weather is certainly cooperating. All right, Chris, you ready for Railroad Museum?
Yes, sir.
Come on up.
I'll apologize, Paige isn't here to keep me short, so. She did ask, Laura knows me well enough to,
Paige gets credit for that.
you can give me the
Paige
signals.
is wonderful.
You can give me the signals, so. I'll try to keep this concise. I sent you all some economic info, impact info, so we've been spending a lot of time trying to develop that, to understand what it means. One of the reasons in developing this whole idea is what can we do to help the town from an economic standpoint and increase things. And there's obviously ways to do that, different things, and build a lot of buildings or get a bunch of, manufacturing, those kind of things, and those aren't necessarily things we want in town. Because of where I came from in Pennsylvania with the Shreveport Railroad up there, the railroad coming here, this was to me a kind of a good solution to capitalize on. So that's how it all came about and why it came about. So we've spent a lot of time with this study. Ask any questions along the way. I don't know if you had time to look at it yet. And they're just kind of real, we took it from a lot of other impact studies, state tourism studies, looked at some other cities and towns and organizations that do this to kind of compile that. So that's how we got all that information together, just to kind of show, you know, by creating a bit of a tourism industry, if you will, here, what that does economically for the town. And there's two sides of that, and the one example is, I talked to Amy today from the chamber about the yard sale that we had this past weekend, which was a really great event. It was a great day, beautiful day. There was a lot of people. A lot of the businesses, you know, said they experienced a lot of business that day. So that's a really great event for the town. I don't want to say the downside of that, but the other side of that is it helped a lot of the businesses that are here. But a lot of the people who came and did booths and all those things, a lot of that money left our town, didn't stay here. We don't collect sales tax on that. You know, some of the food trucks, we give them a waiver for that event. So an event like that is great for the town in one aspect, a bit of a downside in another sense. So in kind of an overall sense, it really becomes a really great marketing opportunity to bring people to our town. The goal being, how do we get more people here today, on Tuesday and Wednesday? The train comes 18 times a year, and again, that's great. You know, so we got the 2 yard sales, the train, so now we're talking 20 events, you know, to really make some kind of impact with the handful of businesses we have here. You know, are we talking about wanting to do 75 events, you know, to get people here? Well, that's probably not a great idea, just from logistically that kind of thing. So how do we develop something to get people here? The train is the great connection, obviously, and develop something that can draw people on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The steam engine coming in adds another element to that. We expect, along with Nashville Steam Tennessee Central, that when the steam engine becomes a part of the excursion trains, that's really going to change the dynamics of the people who come. Not only is it 500 people getting off the train, there's probably going to be another 1,000 people showing up just to see it because it's such an event. And these are numbers that are borne out in other places. These are kind of real statistics, if you will, kind of thing. So those, excuse me, those things are great. But again, train days. How do we develop things? So that's really where the whole museum idea came about, and developing the facility in the way that we did, with some event opportunity, with a third-party restaurant, so that we can have things and develop things that are drawing the museum itself, drawing people here throughout the week based around the train. So that's kind of how those economic numbers developed. And again, just if you have any questions about those over time, feel free to look at them or let me know. I don't want to spend a lot of time going through those numbers. The two things I do want to point out, and the two things that I attached also were there's Wilson County numbers, and I take the state impact study, you know, how many folks came to the state and what kind of numbers it was, broke it down into Wilson County with Wilson County numbers, so we can see from a tourism standpoint what the numbers are just down the road kind of thing, just around us. So by developing something that draws people here, you know, 300 days a year, or whatever it may be, we can see that a piece of that pie can come our way and really come to our town and stay in our town. And if we have something that draws people here to spend money here based on our businesses, not based on outside businesses coming in and taking that money home, we can keep that money here. So that's kind of where those numbers really developed and the importance of those. And the other one being, and this came from the state impact study, why tourism matters. And we, you know, we all talk often about, you know, tax base and those kind of things, and taxes here in town. And the one sheet talked about how Tennessee garners more income from tourism than a lot of other states because of our tax structure, because how the money stays here, because it's sales tax based. So when people spend money, we're taking that money. You know, it's not coming just from the residents kind of a thing. So tourism is a very important part for Tennessee. And I think that can be developed here so that we keep those dollars in our town. And from my vantage point, again, I don't see any other industry necessarily developing here in a big way to affect that. We're a small town, we're a quaint town, we're in Wilson County, we're in distance of a large metropolitan area, we have the railroad. This is a great opportunity for us to grab a hold of that and added to our community as a way to fund some of the infrastructure needs and things that we have that don't become a burden for the residents. And let's see, the last note of the whole thing was just, you know, what is this? We are a 501c3, private company developing this, we're relying on people to help us out kind of things. The way we structured the facility is so that there is revenue opportunity with the whole concept, so that we can operate in the black, if you will. A lot of small-time museums tend to chase money just to operate, just to stay open. And we've worked to develop this so that we can be self-supportive and have other options around just the museum to bring folks here to spend their money here in town. So that's how the event side, the restaurant side, all those things work. And with the train connection, because it's coming from Davidson County out here, we have a real opportunity to take advantage of not just tourism dollars, if you will, but corporate dollars. Because of the corporate things that happen in Nashville, they're always looking for excursions and things like that. We can draw them out here. So it's kind of another way to generate revenue there. So what does this mean as far as what, working with the city, we're a private entity, like I said. What does this mean for the city? I would hope that mayor's office and the council would understand the significance of this. It's not necessarily just an event we're doing, or hey, can we have a fun concert, and all those things are great. I don't want to downplay those things. This is kind of a different model. So I would hope that everyone understands the importance of that. And what I would ask is that, based on these numbers, and we can start to share these things and outside of our circle, that the city leadership would really champion this on our behalf. We're not asking the city to do the work or contribute the funds or those kind of things, but really the connection aspect that all of you have in different ways, through the governmental side and people we know and long time and that kind of thing. And that the city see this as not just another entity doing something for the town, which is nice, but it really is an important aspect of the town as a whole, and that we become a partner, if you will, in how we do that. Even to the extent of talking through things as we develop this, having come from the entertainment world, we would have probably talked about this before, we go to places where there would be an entertainer status. And we'd show up, you have to pay extra tax. So we develop things, it's a ticket tax or something like that, so that we can work together to develop things that benefit the city. Because beyond just this thing, as the entire concept grows and the train grows and they want to start taking trains in and out of here, things like that, there's ways that I think we can discuss and develop things to make it beneficial to the city. So I hope that you look through those numbers, understand those, ask any questions. I feel like they're fairly conservative numbers where I came from. Strasburg, Pennsylvania is a small town out in the country, very much like this, about 3,100 people. They get about 300,000 or 400,000 visitors a year because of the railroad. And it was so important the state built the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum across the street. So I think it's something we can understand and look at and really kind of develop together. And that, the city would look at these as being a real option. And again, work with us from a championing it standpoint kind of thing and make those connections kind of thing. So does that kind of help while we put the study together and that kind of thing?
I do have one question.
Sure.
I looked at the numbers briefly. If I understood you correctly, you came up with those numbers based upon state tourism in the Wilson County. Who had the input? Who drive those numbers that were in your report?
So we pulled all those numbers from various entities and other impact studies and other organizations and what they do.
So that's how you came up with the average and the average amount spent
Yeah.
per tourist? and so-
Yeah, for tourism. Yeah,
Okay.
and there's a little blip in there about, these numbers are based on day trippers because we don't have a hotel situation here. And can you explain, how those numbers, some of those are statistical national numbers. We kind of took all of those things and put it in. together. So the numbers in this are really based on other studies and other averages that are out there from other organizations.
A few months ago, we brought up a thing here at the table, and it was killed right here. We wanted, or some of us did, we thought a nice sign out here would bring people, or people coming down this highway right here could see what's going on in Watertown all the time. And we thought a sign, a nice one that would be run right, would be a thing that would help us. And it was kicked out here, right here at the table, because they didn't think it was useless, basically. Ones that didn't agree. And I still agree. And I think some of the others do too, that we can draw more people in this city by having a sign out here that everybody can see and tell what's going on in this city, instead of just running up and down the highway. And but we had some members here on the board that thought that was useless, I reckon, and I don't agree. And so I think it ought to be brought back up and put back in our city, and put a sign up here that everybody coming down the street or the highway can look right by the highway and say, hey, it's ball games going on tonight, we might stop. Or it's a dinner, or they're gonna have a barbecue at the fire hall.
Sure.
And so maybe quite a few people would stop. But we don't have nothing out here that tell the people what's going on.
Right. So I
And I think it's wrong.
When I worked, when I was in the music business, I worked for a guy, an artist, and one of the things they tried to do when I took over is they would do the concert, he would go out and greet people after the show, and he tried really hard to be friendly with everybody, become friends with everybody. And we had a discussion at one point, and I said, you know, you can do that one at a time, and that's going to take you 900,000 years to build a career, because we need tens of thousands of people. And we need to find ways to do things that create large number of people responding. And so what this does is really, we're working on, and while a sign is great, and that's up to y'all, we're working on things with Jason from Wilson County, developing plans that draw large numbers of people. And we're going to be advertising nationally in some of those kind of things to get to a larger number of people to come here. So, there's two ways to look at it for sure. And we can probably capture
nationally is
a few
good.
people like that, but we need to look beyond that for sure.
Locally is good also.
Don't we have a little sign that's right down here that they've changed and says mile on yard sale today? I know we don't have one, know what Mr. Howe's talking about, but we have one that says what's coming up now.
Yep, I believe Donna Delmos takes care of that.
Yeah, Delmos,
Yeah,
yes.
and
Right.
updates events coming up.
I think the one Hal was talking about was putting one out
Yeah.
at Price City Hall. I still want to revisit that Hal one.
I think the members of the
Gather
board,
some money.
But we do have a sign that says what's going on.
they thought putting 3 feet of sidewalk in down through here with what the sign would cost would be better than putting a sign up.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. All I know is I'm trying to capture large numbers of people, because one at a time is a hard way to do it.
Yeah.
And we need a lot more tax money than a couple people stopping for dinner, so. But there's certain benefits to that for sure.
Well, we'll revisit that, because I'm still very much in support of that.
I can't
And
see.
I'd like for it to be something very nice. I think we're talking about two different things here, but both of them very necessary.
Both of them is going to the same end though, I think.
Yeah, both of them very necessary.
I mean, nationally, or 10 people running down the highway out here and say, wait, I'm gonna stop. I mean,
Anything else?
Can I ask you something.
Please do.
I heard recently 2 or 3 different reports on where exactly the status of the steam engine is as far as ready to roll.
They're, the last, I talked to them in a couple weeks, within the past couple weeks, is they're gearing up for the steam test. Haven't done that yet. There was a delay in one of the installation things, but that should be coming up here April or May, I think is their plan. And once they pass that, then it's just gonna get it back together and start their track testing, which is a fairly long process. So you know, they're not saying any concrete dates, but I think they still have in mind, you know, the first or second quarter of next year, it to be operational.
Okay.
So, and it may show up in town before that, just in a testing phase kind of thing at the end of the year, but that's just
Okay.
they're definitely making progress, and it's not far off, but there's. You know,
Well, you know, I'm having mixed emotions. I want them to get it ready, but on the other hand, I want us to be ready too. So
Right, for sure. Yeah,
we
I
can
think
dovetail that.
depending how that goes, timing goes, and along with that, I think we mentioned before is, I've been spending some time talking with Tennessee Central, and they have, you know, once the turntable and the spurs are, you know, the park's complete kind of thing, even if the steam engine isn't necessarily pulling the train, you know, they're in a place to have the discussions about having some equipment brought out, you know, and
Yeah.
set there for display. So we've already talked through a list of equipment, that kind of thing. So once it's done, even if it's not the steam engine, there'll probably be other visible things.
I've always been optimistic about this project, but it's taken so long. But I really think that once we get moving, things are gonna fall quickly. Fall into place, not fall into place quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm hopeful of that.
Yeah, and it's, people come in the store, because we play the video in the store, and every day people ask about it.
Yeah.
I had a stand out at the yard sale and talked to a lot of people. Met a lady who's, oh, I've been waiting for this, I'm so excited. My father worked on the railroad, I've got so much stuff I want to give to you. So people are very positive about it. I think it's been a long time, so there's a little bit of unbelievable when I see it, but
Yeah,
the reaction has been extremely positive.
I'm hopeful
And I think once-
2027 will be the year.
I think once, what you said, I think once it starts, and I keep telling people, look, we're this close.
And we've got a meeting Thursday, or unless they've changed it. We hope that the federal government is going to turn us loose Thursday to start designing and bidding the project.
Right.
If so, then things should start happening. But,
Awesome. Okay.
yeah,
Hey, Chris?
Yes.
You know the booth they built down by the train track that has QR codes to maps and stuff?
Yep.
Is there a link in there to the video about the train project?
There isn't, all that stuff just goes to the city website.
But it might
Correct.
be worth it.
We can't, yeah, we talked about having to do it, make some new signs, but we haven't gotten press like
I mean, that's all the people who are already excited about train stuff.
that. Right.
Seems close.
But thank you, I appreciate it.
thank you,
Taking
Chris.
the time.
Appreciate
Hope
it.
that's helpful information.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I wanna
Sorry
just-
to bore you there so long.
No, you're good. I want to just add something. The last 3 times I've come down here, 15, 20 minutes before they're bored to leave, and I just hang around and I want to hear what people are saying, whether it's good or bad. And what I hear is good, but what I'm amazed at, I know my English teacher wouldn't be happy with that, you don't have the sentence with preposition, but the first Saturday that I came down here, there was 4 people sitting there, and I said, "You mind me asking where you're from?" He said, "Lexington." I said, "Lexington, Tennessee?" "No, Lexington, Kentucky." Okay, and the other 2 ladies, I said, "Where are you from?" "Memphis." Okay. Next week, or the next time, I asked, and the 2 people told me they were from Evansville, Indiana. And then this week, there was a couple here from Detroit, Michigan. Now, they're coming to Nashville, and they're coming for the rowdy part and all that, but this gives them an option to get out of town and see the countryside and all of that. And you know, I was used to hearing people say, well, you know, I'm from Dixon, or I'm from, you know, Gallatin or something. But when you start talking about coming from Detroit and riding the train out here, And then another couple told me about the train that they run in Georgia that actually has a spot where you can get out and put one foot in Tennessee and one foot in Georgia. So we can get out here and put your feet anywhere you want to. So, you know, and they laughed about it too. So, but anyway, it's just a good thing, and it's going to happen. Before I go any further, is anybody, I didn't ask a while ago, is anybody over there wanted to comment during public business?
I do have one from Amy Harlan, president of the chamber.
Yeah,
She just wanted to publicly thank the city for numbering the square and said that we had a great ride along yard sale, which broke some records, and she just wanted to thank the city for that.
okay. Well, thank you, and we did have a great yard sale, and the weather, that's Chamber of Commerce weather, you can tell her. Yeah. Okay, you ready for civics plans?
We have not had a meeting because we moved this meeting, so I will defer to next month.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got a few items we can go through. I see the guys are here to set up the voting machines, so we don't want to keep them out past midnight or 1 o'clock or whatever in Watertown.
Oh, they were new residents to Watertown. They were just coming to our meeting.
They will be the next 15 days, won't you? The budget report, the one I'm working from was the one 2 days before the end of March, which would have been the 9th month of the year, 3/4 of the way through the year. The general fund shows a negative 36,880, but I still hadn't transferred the 60 out of there that goes back to water and sewer. So we're good on that. Parks and Recreation is good. And that's always amazed me because we run that on a shoestring, as y'all know. And water and sewer is heavy with cash right now. But we are also got a big debt coming due first week of May.
My first.
How much is it? 300-something thousand? It's a lot.
It's like 351 or somewhere in that area.
It's the big one. You know, you have the big one in May and then interest only in November. But we've got, the planning has worked well. I'll come back to that in a minute, in a few minutes about something that has kind of perturbed me. Current projects, we pretty much talked about the turntable and the meeting we've got Thursday, although I hadn't seen the coordinates or whatever we signed, but hopefully we're having it.
I haven't seen any updates on that yet.
Nashville and Eastern Railroad Authority is meeting Thursday as well. Sewer, we're moving right along. Let me go ahead and update you on that. We had a meeting yesterday with Water Management Services, their representative Steve Jones, Brian Conrad, Bob Morgan, Dale Smith. Good meeting. Brian Conrad says that the entire project will be completed by June 30, 2026. Yeah, that's good. And I told him, I said, I'm going to announce it, so, you know.
Weren't they just talking about they were gonna run over and they didn't have any control?
He says he can't find the guy that said that, and Bob told him, so I'll tell you who told me, so I don't know what happened after that, Katie. But they still, they put binder on the road today.
They put the binder down where they initially built a ditch line, so it'll stay down for a couple of months, and then they'll have to come back in, shake the road, and it'll be brand new asphalt all the way down Commerce.
Yep. And he said he had that, he talked about the ditching and the paving on Commerce. They need, they got 1,000 feet of line to lay over on the Hall property, but that ought not be so much rock there as it is dirt, bottom land. They got to cross the creek twice, once behind the city shop and once behind Steve Brown's place. And then after that, all we'll have is, clean up and the punch list and that type of thing. So hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's just maybe not the train coming to run over us. But Brian, I told him, I said, Brian, can you guarantee that? And he said, yes. So, and then one other thing in the area of water, We had a young man here in town, and I'm not gonna call his name, I don't want to embarrass him, but we had a young man, hit a fire plug down on Pearl Street, knocked it over, and, the police did a report on it. Chief Henderlight's already gotten that to me. The driver is insured, so when we get our total bill together, we'll make that claim to the insurance company, including for the water we lost. And hopefully, we should get back, we should not lose anything on that other than, Bob did say that y'all are gonna move that plug over on the other side of the sidewalk.
We did, we moved it into Miss Malone's property over there, so we
Yeah.
moved it about 4.5 feet back.
In,
That's the third time that hydrant's been hit over the years.
in Bob's words, I'm tired of moving and I better stop there. Yeah, so, but they got right on that yesterday morning, and I brag on these fellas. There ain't no group of people around better that when you got an emergency, they fall in on it, no matter what the weather is, and I appreciate it. Now, I'm hopeful with what Brian's talking about, that perhaps in the middle of the summer, we can start talking about street paving and see how much we can do, what kind of money we've got. And I don't want to jinx it, but I'd still like to get that done this year if possible, so. And I said that, that's on me, that's not Brian, so.
Mike, a question for that.
Sure.
In advance of that, do we want to start looking at trying to create a priority list?
We probably do, and we also need to, Steve, we're gonna need to explore some funding possibilities like USDA, and I know, well, I'm not giving away anything here. The city of Lebanon is paving, they have a paving contract, and when they told me how many miles they're paving for what amount of money, I was encouraged. And I want to talk to that contractor because I'm thinking if they bid the project, we can dovetail on their bid and use them without us having to go through the expense of bidding, which saves some money. But I'm not ready to report on that yet. But they did tell me that a couple of weeks ago in a meeting on something else.
And
yeah.
another thought. I don't know if we're planning to pave over or if we're going to reclaim the current asphalt and put down new asphalt. But some of our minor streets and things that aren't the main avenues, if we're going to dig up the existing asphalt, maybe we can use that asphalt and resurface some of the minor streets instead of using new product totally. It gives a new surface, it won't last as long as a new product, but it's recycling of the asphalt.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
On the minor alleys, back streets and things that aren't heavily traveled.
I still don't want to mislead people. I don't think we can get enough money to pave all the streets in town. But the ones that are driven, you know, I'm thinking Main Street from one end to the other, Elm Street, Elm Avenue, and then see where we go from there. I know we got a lot of bad streets.
I believe the worst one in town is the one going to the trash.
That's what I'm talking about, Elm.
That's what you're talking about, Elm.
Yeah,
Because Elm's gotten a lot of traffic in the
That
last
is
year.
the,
it's basically got two streets worth.
It's became 2 streets for the last year since Commerce was closed.
Yeah. And always have April check on this for us, our money at the local government investment pool for the sewer project. We have $1,554,767.70 on depository, and it's earning interest. Some of that is our interest. It'll stay with us. Any questions on that? I'm not ignoring you, you just over, you gotta hold it down by yourself over there. All right?
Good.
Okay, we have received some more calls about the burn pile. Chief Hahn left. We've got the drought situation that the weather people are concerned about. Everything's dry. And we've got limitations from the state. We can burn limbs and branches, but not vegetation. So I talked to Blake today, Chief Hahn, and I asked him, I said, Blake, if we open this up for 2 or 3 days by appointment maybe, or have somebody stationed there for half a day, and people can bring wood, you know, trees, branches, whatever, but they'll have to, the leaves will have to be off of them, which I think's crazy, but that's the rule. If we could do that, would the fire department stand by while we burned it with this drought on Lake City wood? So they'd have somebody there. So hopefully April and Tamara will talk about with Bob in the morning and Cody about how best to make that happen. Of course, if people bring in stuff that we can't burn, then we'll be defeating the purpose, but,
We need to look at that mess they sent out to us the first time, because one of their rules in there was about distance from where
yeah.
this stuff is brought from. As in, like, it can't be but a certain area away from where your burn pit is. And was part of their rule system too.
Well, it needs to be just our community, but
Yeah.
there's also a 200-foot distance from any house.
Yeah, and it's something to do
We've
with
got that.
airport, but we don't have that, but there was I read through that list of rules and it was quite silly, some of them.
No action that I'm asking for tonight, but we're gonna try to get that back. We've had 3 or 4 or 5 calls on that.
They're just burning them in their yards. I mean,
I think it's a,
but every night I smell it.
Yeah, and you wonder, like, it's there in between all the houses,
Yes.
just to
and
make
I'm
it super exciting.
I think it's crazy. I know they don't want us burning trash, and they don't want us burning shingles, and they don't want us burning asphalt, but why can't you bring brush and burn it?
So Mike, we've been talking about this since I was on city council and before, but it just occurred to me, there's this whole principle in composting where you have an active pile and then you close it.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how long it would take if we let people put brush and then closed it and started a different pile. Like, how long would it take for that pile to become burnable?
The EPA's write-up on that actually had something about, it wasn't just burning, it's the dumping. Bringing stuff to a site. There was a very
Do you
specific,
have it?
I have to look it
Do
up.
you have an email or just print out?
Yeah, I have the email.
We do.
Yeah. But it's a very specific,
That's an interesting
Let's think.
thought. Our ag boys over here at the high school, perhaps that's a project for them that we could get them to take on.
Think about it at least, right? Because, I mean, then you have to make sure people put the stuff in the right pile, whatever.
I'd say that would be kind of a loophole, because if you did get it through a school or a program, it wouldn't be considered a dump pile at that point, and it would be considered a project. That's,
Well, and I started to call the people back at the state the last couple of days, but I knew with this weather the way it is, they're gonna tell me, you don't need to burn, you know. So I thought, I'm gonna waste my time calling. But I think we ought to explore that.
a composting
Yep.
network or yeah, that would be like a system, recycling system for greenery.
Yeah.
It's possible. I need to see what the rules are on that.
I'll see what we can come up with. They're getting close to the end of school. It may have to be a July and August project.
But there's still some kids that's looking to get their green hand.
Yeah.
There's another big word that they can get their senior year. But that they work over the summer, because we have found projects for them to do over the summer so they can get these hours. They have to have a lot of hours by a certain time their senior year to get like the national recognition.
Who would I talk to at the ag department over here?
Jason Bradshaw.
How do I know Jake? How do I know that name?
He's from here. He married one of the Trice girls.
Is that Matt's son?
No, sir.
Okay.
I have done that same probably.
They're from North.
I don't think they're really good.
They're not.
The what?
They're not related.
Oh, okay. But I know that name from somewhere.
They live in Warren.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good idea. And we'll pursue that. Few items in new business. The audit is there. I'll need you to vote to accept it. It's a good audit. It has the standard stuff. We don't have enough people handling money, but because of our size, we can't do any better. The bad news is in our general fund last year, according to the audit, we overspent, and also in water and sewer. And again, I'll come back to that in a minute, and I'm going to end with something that makes me ill. But anyway, everything else is good. I'm watching this as best I can. Hopefully, we won't have this again. But we overspent last year. So, now, good news is we've got a fund balance that covers, we got $750,000 fund balance and over $1 million in water and sewer, so. But I need y'all to accept the audit if you would, and do the ACCEPT.
I'll make a motion to accept.
All right, discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Now, here's something, let me get my notes here. Okay. We bought all of this acreage on the other side of the creek back in the 1990s, mid to late 1990s. We sold the house off over here, and we have all this over there where the helicopter pad is and where the Tiny Tots ball field is. There's a pond back there. And we always thought we owned that pond. But we don't. We've been taking care of that for 20-something, almost 30 years. There's 5.01 acres back there. And how it's come to light is that the delinquent tax attorney has located it as being delinquent with taxes. And the owner of that property lives here in Watertown. She wants us to have it. She thought we had it until she started getting these notices saying that there was delinquent taxes. And she wants us to have it. I told her we want it because we feel like it's ours, has been all along. So here's what I'm going to propose to you. I'm going to propose to you that we pay the delinquent taxes. Through May 31, that'll be $2,400.90. I'm going to propose that we get a title search on it. And the gentleman that's going to search the title for me told me it would not exceed $250. And then I'm going to suggest that we get the property surveyed, talk to Brian Keith's firm, Steve, the one that comes to the Planning Commission all the time. It will be $2,850 to $3,350. The mix-up was, one of the mix-ups was, what I was looking at only showed 1.64 acres, but the lady that owns it said it's 5.01. And when I got talking to the surveyor, he said, yeah, it's 5.01. So we need to get that survey to know exactly what we've got. So my proposal to you tonight is that we buy that for paying the back taxes, the cost of the title search, and the cost of the survey. And that's going to be about, around $6,000.
$6,000.
Yeah, yeah. It's landlocked. It's worth more to us than it is anyway.
I have a question for you, because if you go on the Wilson County GIS site, it already indicates that the city has a landlocked piece back here that's, I think, already a couple acres. Is that the same one you're talking about?
Well, that's the one I was looking at, but the one that the surveyor found was 5.01. And I thought we were looking at the same thing, but maybe it's the two of them combined, I don't know. But whatever he surveys it out that's left over there, let's put it in the city of Watertown's name.
Why, do I know the home?
Do what?
Do I know who owns it?
Yeah, Dottie Williams, Terry Williams, wife.
Used to belong to Miss Larry Jones years ago.
Well, I'll tell you who had it before, Hal, was Joe and Clara Dodd. That's Dottie's parents.
Yeah, they live on
And
the
they
outside.
sold some of it off, and then they passed away.
Yeah.
And so she wants us to have it. we've met over here and we've been in contact back and forth, and it means more to us than it does anybody, because it's not a building site.
It's a big pond.
Yeah, it can be bigger.
Yeah.
Well, my question for you, with this acquisition of the 5, will it still be landlocked, or will it adjoin
joins
our?
ours.
It will adjoin ours, so it will no
Yes.
longer be landlocked.
That's right. It doesn't have road access to Statesville Road, but it has it.
Right.
through
Well, I guess my thought is if we ever develop this as additional park space, which I think has always been the plan,
there. Right.
we could have the pond as part of the extended park.
Yeah, they built a house in front of it.
That's exactly what I wanted, was that pond.
Okay.
I have hopes that one of these days, we can open that up a couple of days a week and kids can come over here and fish.
It's fish out there that big.
Oh, you talking about over in the rock quarry now? It's a little pond back there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, they ain't no telling what's in that rock quarry, you and I know that.
I wouldn't, I.
Maybe some dead
I
bodies.
wouldn't put my foot in it. Oh, they ain't no telling what's in it.
All right, well, I'd like to get y'all to approve that, so I'm gonna recommend that to you if you would do it.
I make most of it approve.
I'll second that.
Discussion? I know you got it, you can find everything.
I think it's this one down here, but yeah, it is not sectioned on this one.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Ah,
Opposed? You gonna say, you can find more stuff on that phone right there, and I find my telephone number. Be here tonight, his youngest son is going from, tonight's his advanced from 8th grade into high school meeting night, so JC needed to be there. But he has sent us a proposal. We need to purchase a chlorine analyzer. As you might guess, this is suggested by the state of Tennessee. It will tell us how little chlorine can be in the system and still remain effective. He has recommended one. He's taken bids. It's not the cheapest, but it's not the most expensive either. It's the ChemTrack unit with pH adjustment quoted by Labtronics. Now, that may mean something to y'all. All I know is, he said it's got to be tied into our SCADA system, which we did some work on that about a year ago. The price of this is $13,465.34. So I'll recommend that to you as well. JC said it needs to be done in April, so we can get that taken care of.
So you need a motion for?
I do.
All right, I'll
Just
make a
spend that.
motion to purchase, what's it called again?
Yep, it's the ChemTrack unit. Let's just call it
ChemTrack
that.
unit, okay.
Chlorine analyzer?
Yep. All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? I wish I could tell you more about it. All I know about water is I cut the faucet on, comes out. All right, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, now here's the one that I've been hinting around that doesn't make me happy. I got an email from folks with the comptroller's office, the Tennessee Board of, what's it called, like utility regulation, on March 5, telling me that we were on the docket for a meeting on March 12. That's 7 days' notice now, 2 of which is a weekend. And I wrote them back and said I would like for them to move it to the next date because I was in court that day. I had 7 cases. And I said, I can't be there. And they came back and told me that I could join the meeting virtually if my schedule permitted, but they would not reschedule the meeting. It didn't sit well with me, but you have to play by their rules. If I could join it, I'd have gone. But the response was, this email was intended solely as notice that Watertown will be included on the agenda. No action is required from you at this time. They didn't tell me what they was going to consider. 7 days notice, we're not gonna put it off for you, and then don't tell you what it's gonna consider. So, on April 2nd, after the meeting, I get an order from them, signed by the chairman of that board, and the last time I was down there, he was super nice, he told me. He said, appreciate what y'all, we adjusted the rates. But I've got to hire somebody to do a capitalization policy, a review of our debt management policy, the creation of a 5-year capital asset budget, a review of relevant utility fees, including connection or tap fees. We adjusted those. Verification that all of us are in compliance with the relevant training requirements. Well, I've got mine for having to mess with them. And a review of the leak adjustment policy, including any recommended modifications. We fixed that. If I could have just gone down there, or if they put it off to the next meeting, I could have told them that. They wanted me to hire somebody by April 30th, that's this year, 16 days from now. And they wanted it completed by December 31. Now, they did throw me a bone. They gave the board staff the authority to grant up to 2 extensions of up to 6 months of the deadlines upon the showing of good cause. I'm going to respond to this, and I'm going to tell them what we've done, and I'm going to tell them in a kind way, I hope, that if you'd have just let me come down there, we could have told you that. If you just set it off. They didn't want to do it, but it irritates me that they tell you you're on the docket. That's not the American way. You're married to an attorney. Nobody goes to court unless they know what they're charged with.
If you're on the docket, there's a reason you're on the docket, and that reason is normally shared.
That's correct. And that just...
And I have a question for you. We've done everything they just noted. And I think we've done all that within the last 2 years.
We started it within the last 2 years. We actually finished it I believe it was April last year.
Yeah, I was going to say, because with the water and sewer project, we went through everything you just described.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we present them evidence that we have done this and with the dates, can we request a wait? I mean, hey, will they accept that in lieu of spending money to redo another one?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to request a 90-day extension. I don't want 6 months.
Yeah.
And then send them all of that and see what they do with it. And I'm sorry, but just the way we got to this point and the fact that they're telling me you got to do all the stuff you've already done. So, you don't have to vote on anything on that. You just got to tolerate your mayor being ill for a few minutes. And I am going to ask for the extension, and I'm going to respond to the order. So, and I'll keep y'all informed. I'll be nice. That's really all I had tonight. The informational items, I will not be here the 3rd Tuesday next month. If y'all want to meet, you're welcome to. If you don't, I'll need to move it to either the 2nd Tuesday or the 4th Tuesday. Which one do I go to?
The 4th. Graduation for Wilson County Schools starts on the 12th and ends like on the 23rd.
That early?
Yeah, the first graduation will be on the 12th.
Okay.
That's the BTA adult high school. So.
Hey, and I know, now that's the Tuesday after Memorial Day.
the
And I know
26th
people
is-
take vacations and
so,
stuff.
the-
Everybody good? You good with that, huh, Steve?
What day?
26.
26?
I'm not gonna be gone till the first week in June.
Okay.
No, I should be good. I'm out for 2 weeks in August. But
Well, if we get to, there's a lot of time between now and then. If something comes up, y'all find out you got a conflict, let me know.
Day after Memorial Day.
We'll move this day after Memorial Day. And it's already been mentioned about the yard sale. I just thought that was a great day, and a couple of us remember a lot of yard sales. I have to think that the crowd Saturday was as big, if not bigger, than any we've ever had.
It was a nice day. We walked around.
A lot of people here.
I didn't get to come over to see it. I wasn't up to par, so,
There's a crowd.
yeah, so I didn't get to make it.
All right, let's go around the table. Hal, you're first up.
I really can't think of anything I could bring up.
Okay. Steve?
Don't really have anything other than the fact if anybody's a baseball fan, I want to remind everyone our baseball team is doing fairly well so far this year, and I think we got a good chance of making a good run into the tournament season. So,
Yep.
and there's 2 games this week on Thursday and Friday, so come on out. There's not 3 more home games, I think.
Who do we have to see to find out, to get, dates of when the ball, I like to go see them play baseball, but I never know when they play.
I've got a,
I'll send it to you.
all right, yeah. And if we finish first, the district tournament will be here too.
Yeah.
So,
And we got a good, and right now, I think we got a good chance.
I think we're in the
of
lead.
hosting it.
Yeah. They're playing at Murfreesboro right now.
It's also on the school's website, but it doesn't update it fast like if there's inclement weather or something, so.
I generally go see them play several times, but I hadn't been able to. I've heard them time too hollering over, but
They're pretty good. I went to Carthage Friday and saw them. I went over to East Robertson the Friday before that. I guess it was Good Friday. And they're pretty good. Of course, you can have a bad day, but they're pretty good and they're very well coached. Anything else, Steve?
No, that's it for me.
That's fun stuff there. Laura,
I think about a few months now, right?
you want us to hang a star on the wall for you?
I'm ready tonight. I'm
All
just
right.
getting there quick and easy. We got the list of food trucks from Miss April of who is
Mhm.
compliant right now. Who monitors those? Because I know some people think that they're still good. They didn't realize that it had expired. So when they're get up for expiration, do you like give them a call or anything?
I usually track them down, but they have the permit, so they should keep up with
I know that. Right, okay. Because
Because aren't they supposed to have them posted?
they are supposed to, yes, because we have quite a
Yeah,
few
that
right
makes
now.
up with one.
There's only 3 that's on there, and none of those 3 are even visiting. So the ones
Yeah,
that are
because-
around here right now visiting do not have a permit.
Because there was one that I had to keep texting and getting in touch with.
Mhm. Yeah, so I just want to make
Did you
sure
get
that
them signed
we're
up?
polite and, and then the other thing is softball. I had a parent bring this up, and I haven't talked to any coaches or the middle school, so I don't know. The baseball and softball middle school use our fields, okay? The parents asked about doing a concession stand and gate. And their coaches told them, the city said, we cannot do that. So the parent was like, how come we go to Carroll Oakland and have to pay $7, but when people come here, they don't have to pay anything? We have to do extra fundraising to get money for our uniforms and stuff like that. So have we ever told them, like, you can't charge a gate fee?
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
but we do know that at the same time that somebody, maybe there's a baseball game going on, our teams are playing on this field, and if you try to charge those folks,
And we
that's a
said,
problem.
I told her, I said, no, number 1, it's hard to monitor.
Yeah,
And number 2, you can't use our concession stand because that is for our city league.
it funds our.
And she's like, but we couldn't set up our own. And I said, I will ask at our next council meeting, and depending on what the mayor said, you can go take that up with your coach.
We've never done that because,
I don't want them to use our concession stand because we had that marked for our.
I know, but our concessions will be open now that we're playing ball here Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah,
Thursday,
yeah.
and Friday. But if they want to set up concessions and compete with us, no, we
Yeah,
can't do that.
okay, I'll let her know that. But you know, they start in March.
Yeah.
Especially from March until whenever, okay. So I'll let her just know that she can
Yeah,
take
tell
that
her,
up with her
we're not
coach.
trying to be difficult, we just.
No, right. And the other thing was the Everbridge posters. I brought that up at one of the meetings and Mr. Casey wasn't here, so I just wanted to bring that up again. The businesses that, a few, maybe 4 months ago, we had said the Everbright posters were gonna get, and putting all the businesses to get the word out there. So, he said that yes, when, you wanna speak for yourself?
Well, no, I mean, I know that night we talked about it, there was a discussion about the cost, and he said it'd be about $20. I offered to pay for it, he told me, don't worry about it, he was gonna donate it, being,
Mr. Michael?
yeah, Mike.
Oh, okay.
So that was the last I heard of it, was that he was gonna, it's because they were gonna print them on a cardboard
Yeah.
paper
Got back
so that
there.
it would survive and last longer.
Yeah,
And like I said, I had personally offered to pay for it, but he said, don't worry about it.
I wouldn't pay for it when they need to.
So, well, yeah,
That's
But
public
that's
service.
Because y'all
the
don't
last I
have them,
heard.
right, Mr. Okay, yeah, I didn't think they're in our businesses yet, and I would like to get that out there. Mr. Hinderlight, and I know this was kind of April's push, and Mr. Hinderlight worked to get that, and
Yep, he did.
we need to get it out to our community, maybe even put it in the paper. So,
Okay.
Thanks.
If you, I'll try to remember to put it in my article next time.
Okay. I'm good.
Put it on the website too. Oh, wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't, it was just a few
And you're
things.
good till Christmas now.
That's right.
God,
What do we need to, have you called anyone on the 911 button?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I figured it just, yeah.
But it is important that I would,
If you need something, hit me up, we'll try to get it moving along, because I had somebody else ask me about it last week, so.
yeah, we had, we've had 3 or 4 more walk-ups, and now that they secured the building, like, you can't get anybody.
Yeah.
It's not that they're at fault, that, they don't come to the door, they're in the back, and EMS don't hear it, and then the fire department's locked up too, which is, I mean, it should be that, I guess we're gonna code all that with the digital encrypted stuff, so, and we don't have access to it. But the button does need to be fixed, in my opinion, so that way when, we're talking about the metal button, you should push it, it call 911 if you have an emergency.
yeah,
Rather, so it's not work, somebody comes
The
wires.
wiring is partially still there, but the original, like, DSN box that was back
Yeah.
in the back room is missing and gone. And whatever ties those 2 buttons together has to have some kind of cell link, so it calls 911 out. We need either AT&T or whoever it is we're using, like, for the city, they need to come out and put this box in. So that button,
who put that in?
I
It's originally put in, I think.
think it was AT&T, wasn't it?
AT&T when.
I mean, who paid, do we pay for the installation?
Oh, yes, sir. It was
Okay.
put in when the building was made, erected, and then it just, like I said, it doesn't work, but it really does need to work, because there are a lot of times, that we've had 3 MIs pull up, active MIs, people in the car, and, if one of them's sitting up front, we don't have a buzzer either.
So how do we get that
We just need to
fixed?
call AT&T and ask them to come out and give us a quote on what
Yeah.
they need to put in, I guess.
Okay.
Their new server or their router box, where they're going
Okay.
to have to dial 911 only.
I think that's important, yeah.
And we'll probably have to pull the face off that button, I'm sure, and check and make sure it's
Yeah.
still good inside there, because it's old and been sitting for quite a while. But the
But just-
button is still there, it's just, it doesn't, you click it, doesn't do anything.
But you said the box in the back was gone.
Yeah, where all the wiring goes back to the main server area.
Is it inside or outside?
It's inside the
It was
building.
inside the dispatch per se for the fire department and the whole building, central hub. And that's the reason that we found out is when it didn't work, we went back there and all of our stuff was back there. So we had to move all of our stuff up to our room so that nobody, our people were unplugging their internet.
But how does something like that disappear?
I don't know, sorry.
I mean, I think we all know the answer to that. Rhetorical question.
Yes.
I mean, the wiring is still there, best I can tell. Everything was coming down the ceiling and out the ground, but the natural metal box that was all in originally, the unit is missing out of the box. So it walked off, or they came and got it, or I don't know the answer to that. But
We'll get to work on that.
if we can get
That
a
needs to be
box
fixed.
in there, I'm more than happy to do it at the time to try to make sure the wiring all is happy for me to be. So.
Okay. We need to get that fixed. We'll get to work on it. Okay. Anything else? That's all I got. Will,
What date?
we decided May 26th.
26.
That's all right? You're gonna be gone in June, you said.
Yeah, good with me.
We got anybody over there, Mr. Director, wants to talk to us?
Zach,
We're good.
We're good? Okay. I can't hear you think your name, I'm sorry. I gave you a title. Okay. Y'all ready to vacate the building?
Motion to adjourn.
second.
We're out of here. Everybody remember to vote.